ever episode of Better Than the Talk podcast. My name is Summer Esquerre, and I will introduce our co host in a minute. But we're here to have a live, honest conversation about gifted, high achieving Black women entrepreneurs on unlearning grind culture, getting real about burnout, and building success that protects your peace. In addition to myself, there are four other panelists here, and we're going to have a really honest, raw conversation. So, with that, I'm going to kick it to one of my first panelists, Kimmy Walker.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Kimmy Walker. I am the host of the Early Accountability Podcast, and I have the Early Accountability Agency, where we do a lot of things to just help people create habits that stick in different domains of wellness. So I'm excited to be here. So thank you for having me, Summer.
Thanks, Kimmy. And Sharon, why don't you go ahead and introduce folks to you? What you all about?
So, hi, everybody. I am Sharon Jarrett, founder and CEO of Jarrett Affairs, where we create game-changing experiences around the country on time, on target, and on budget. Prior to my entrepreneurial journey, I spent about 16 years at IBM managing seven-figure budgets. And I will tell you, same stress, different day.
And we're going to get into that same stress, different day, especially in 2025.
Absolutely.
But first, Catherine, why don't you go ahead and tell the audience who you are and what you're about?
So, hey, everybody. I am Catherine Latoya Grant-Alston, the Queen Treasurer. I am the CEO and co-founder of Art Financial Solutions. And we help business owners go from being passionately poor to purposefully profitable using financial strategy and automation so that they can build the business that they envisioned and the life that they desired. Our motto is to leave trust funds and not trauma. And I am so happy to be here with y'all.
I'm excited to have this conversation with you too, because I know what you're about to be about. And last but not least, Alicia, go ahead and tell the folks about you and what drives you and motivates you.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Alicia Brown. I am a former corporate recruiter turned home educator, and I help homeschool parents turn their students into exceptional writers. And for their high schoolers, I help them turn their essays into scholarships. So I'll let you hit us with the questions first, and then I'll talk about what motivates me and all of that good stuff.
Sounds good. And again, my name is Summer Esquerre. I'm co-founder of Smart Wellness. We help gifted and high-achieving Black professionals stop hustling wellness. We focus on transformation using neuroscience, culturally aligned work, and somatics, which is just being in the body. And so we're really going to have an honest conversation about what it means to be in 2025 as Black women, as entrepreneurs, in this environment with burnout and navigating all of the complexities that we have to deal with day to day. So first, I want to ask you all, when did your body first tell you that surviving success was costing too much? And what boundary of practice immediately shifted your leadership? Catherine.
I knew you was going to start with me. So first and foremost, hi, Natasha. Hi, Queen. I just want to make sure we shout out our loved ones that are joining. So for me, I always say, for me, I've had many, many health issues due to not sitting down, trying to survive, trying to do all of the things that I felt like I needed to do, keeping the S on my chest as Superwoman. And yeah, so for me, it wasn't the brain injury that I had that sat me down. It should have. It wasn't the heart surgery that I had that should have sat me down. It was the hysterectomy. And even then, I can be honest, I haven't put the boundaries that I need to in place, right? But what I did find in this journey is that when you have a mindset of survival, that's what you know until you know something different. And a lot of times we don't know anything different. Summer, I can't wait till you talk about what it is with us, especially as Black women in our DNA. I can't wait till you talk about that. But we don't know anything different. And so I had to relearn a lot of things. Because of my background, my whole thought process was to make it out, and by any means necessary. So I live the hustler culture, and and even the soft life, as some of my family would call it, which is interesting to me, but that's another story. Even the soft life, right, of climbing a career and everything, like, we know that's a whole different beast. It's a whole different beast. And so my body shut down. And it shut down from a physical perspective, from a mental perspective, and from a spiritual perspective. I always say God will give us the lesson multiple times. There's a price to pay for disobedience. And it was a process. I don't have the boundaries that I wish. Did I do that? I'm sorry. Take that off. Sorry, I think that's auto. My bad. I think it's auto on my thing, on my side. Sorry. I don't have the boundaries that I wish I could, right? But what I did do was, your girl can sleep, okay? Now, I might not be able to do the movement, and I might not be able to do some other things, but when I am tired, I'm going to sleep. And so that's the one thing that I would say I put in practice. I put in place from a boundary perspective. But my body taught me a lot in this journey. And the one thing that I know is that if you continue to push yourself, if you continue to try to do the things, your physical being, your spiritual being, your mental being is not going to win. So you have to truly relearn some things. I hope I answered your question in its entirety. But yeah.
You did, and I want to say, before we ask Sharon to give her experience, there was a message before the shutdown. And so for you to get to already shut down mentally, emotionally, spiritually, there were already signs, there were already things that you were completely ignoring. That you just said, I got to go, right? Like, I got to get in this hustle and I got to get out. But what you didn't know was that you were trying to get out of one thing, but you were putting yourself in a whole other situation that you were not prepared for. So I do hope that it's different now, and I'm glad that you're getting some rest. I mean, active rest, sleep is really important. But for Sharon, I want to hear from you. What were some of those tells for you that you noticed, or did you not notice those tells about you were surviving success?
I did notice. For me, it was my body masked it through exhaustion, masked as the grind, right? That was for me. And for me, it was working, and being available for everybody but myself. Everybody but myself. Because think about it. We grow up in families where we are either the high achieving professional or a group of high achieving professionals, right? You hear your grandmother say to you, time in, time out, you got to be twice as good to get half as much, right? Then put on top of that the HBCU excellence, which is the standard, okay? So for me, I didn't know how to do anything but grind. Would wake up in the morning more tired than when I went to bed at night. So fast forward to this major conference, and I'm telling you all, I worked around the clock. It was nothing for me to be up 48 hours because I'm working for this conference. I got to get it done. I was compensated nicely for it. Now, don't think I just did it for free, but still, I worked myself into a tizzy where I found myself in the hospital. Right? And it was around the holidays. If you know anything about my family, my grandparents, my mother, Christmas is the most sacred holiday for us in terms of like celebrating, getting with family flying in. And the thought that I would miss it that particular year, I had to change. And my husband said to me, you better be hopeful to live to the next day. Forget Christmas 8 days away from now. You have to change. And I did. I had to. So for me now, I set boundaries. I'm not available all the time. Don't text me before 8 a.m. You're not going to get a response. I don't care who you are, right? Don't text me. And I said, I don't look at my emails before 9 o'clock because I plan my day first versus allowing my emails to plan my day.
I love that.
Yeah, that's really powerful. I mean, there's a couple of things that I heard. One, the compensation wasn't worth the cost of your life,
It was not.
right? So even if you were paid handsomely, right? If you're not around to experience that money, so what?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And we get so caught up in the capitalistic ideology, right? That we think that is what we need to do, right? That talented 10th, like you said, being excellent, like excellent is the floor.
Right.
And what we don't know is that has such a significant cost to our psyche, right? It has such a significant cost to the folks who are coming in front of us, right? Because I know you have a son, your child witnessing that this is the way. That's not what you wanted to telegraph to him,
right?
But that's what you were demonstrating,
absolutely,
right? And anything less is not acceptable. Right. And the thing about it, and Alicia, and I want to get to you and Kimmy in a minute. The thing about it, and what Catherine was talking about, is that excellence that is in our DNA from any Black body who came from chattel slavery.
Yep.
Right. So if we think about it, our foremothers, all those generations ago, in addition to having to work in the field, they were also producing life to be in the field. And they would work through their pregnancy, they would work through having babies, and there were no days off. So we have that materially in our bodies, and we don't get what is going on? If I slow down, there's a problem, because we still recognize that as a life and death thing, even though it is not. And it's something that we really need to disrupt. And it's a very difficult thing because there's the guilt that's involved in all of that. And the shame when we say, I need to rest, I need to take a break, I need to slow it down. So, Alicia, I know you and I have talked about this a lot offline. We've talked about how the giftedness and being high achieving is that double-edged sword. Tell us about when your body said that, or even just some of the things that you needed to do to shift, if you've begun shifting that.
Yeah, I would say I'm still in the process of shifting. I come from I was thinking about what Sharon said about the lessons that were passed down to us. And so there were lots of things I did in corporate that were just unhealthy and not honoring my body. But I think for me, when I was watching myself pass down those same unhealthy narratives to my kids in a home education space. So I was still high achieving, and I was telling my kids you have to be twice as good, and in their young minds, they were resisting that, as they should have, And so for me, I was having this dual experience. I would say one thing, and then I'm this is not right. Why am I giving them the thing that is killing me? Why am I telling them to exist in the world in a way that I knew was harmful to me? So I think for me, my body having that dissonance of what was coming out of my mouth, but what my body was telling me was a lie. So there's so many experiences that I've had as I've raised my kids. They're now, young adults for the most part. I have one teenager left, but I would say the dissonance is what I was experiencing when, to answer your question, just the dissonance I experienced.
And what I'm hearing that you're saying is you were experiencing self-betrayal, right? We don't know that that is the thing that we do. We give other people the blueprint to betray us because we say, watch me betray me and take notes because I'm going to show you how to do it right. I'm going to show you how to do it often. I'm going to show you how to do it all the time. Right. And so when you notice that that self-betrayal, you said that cognitive dissonance, what happens to you when you're in that state, right? Like, what is happening to you mentally, emotionally, spiritually? If you can describe the texture of that, what was going on for you when that was happening?
Yeah, so I'm gonna speak from my homeschooling experience, raising my kids in a space which was predominantly white. So the homeschooling space I predominantly raised my kids in their formative years, their stories and their images were not reflected. We also went to a church where our stories and our image, they were not reflected or respected or even honored. And so for me, I got to the point, and I grew up in church. So I grew up AME. So I grew up in a Black church experience. For me, the dissonance got so bad that like it almost felt like I was thinking about this in the car. I was like, there was this one time I was sitting in church. It was a white church that we had served in, but there were so many things going on in our culture that my kids were asking me about, but nobody who we were around seemed to be bothered by the things that were just absolutely disrupting our home. And it like sitting in the seat, it felt like just spiders were crawling over. Like I couldn't sit there anymore. I could no longer fake. I could no longer smile. I could no longer wear the mask. I could no longer keep everybody comfortable and keep everybody's peace but my own. So I think for me, it just got to a point where I had to remove my body. And I had to, for me, it was really difficult for me to say, I can no longer be in service to white supremacy in a Christian space. And to acknowledge that that's what I was spending so many years and putting my family in that space as well. So I had to actually remove access to protect my health and to protect my mental health and to model for my kids that it's not okay. It's not okay to just be in a space that wants to extract your greatness, but doesn't want to honor you, your whole person.
And that's not a loving God, right? Right. That's not the God of your understanding. But
right.
Well,
Exactly.
we will touch on that in a minute because that is a sensitive, a hot button topic.
Yeah.
Kimmy, you got a story in here. I know that you have complexities that you've had to deal with. So talk to us
Absolutely.
about you surviving success.
I think I can say what I've learned from it. When you say, what does it feel like? So when it feels like the knots or the anxiousness, or I see this person's name in my phone, or I see this email come in, or I pull up to the building and I know I'd just rather die than walk in, right? It ain't conducive, right? And there are times where we do have to navigate how to move through certain situations so that we can make sure we take care of our responsibilities, right? However, I can say now I have learned how to, when I see those signs, and if I've tried to adjust, if I've tried to shift, if I've tried to pivot, and it's still to the point where I'm like, I see this person's name, I see this person's or I see this, or I see some reminder, I need to do what I need to do for my self-care. So one thing I can say with being able to kind of reach what you're talking, read those kind of somatic complaints and somatic things in our body and how it shows up. I can say now in my adulthood, I let go a lot quicker than I used to. Right? Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run.
All right, Kenny. All right.
I don't know if I'm running. I don't know if I'm running nowadays. I don't. I'd be like, hey, red flag. It was 10 red flags. I know we'll ask God for a sign multiple times, and it'd be like, I'm gonna give you a sign and an exit. And he showed you the sign, and he showed you the exit, and you still kept going. I'm gonna keep holding on. No, it showed you again, and you multiple times, and another exit, and we keep pushing through. So I'm like, I gotta sign in the exit. You gotta sign in the exit. Hey, and that is healthy. That is understanding when you're in a situation that no longer serves you or never served you in the first place. And it allows you to become more aligned with when it comes to your divine purpose, and where you need to be at that stage in your life. So that's how I feel. I can say that's what
I appreciate that. And, I will be honest as well, right? Because we've all been on this journey. And I would say that there were like two signs. The first is I would always get the flu on my birthday.
Oh.
Right. And that's a reminder. Here you are another year and you are sick and you have phlegm and you have inflammation. And what are you going to do about it? Because maybe you got another year ahead, but here we are, it's February and you are sick. And I lived in South Florida, so this ain't because of the change in the weather. It's either 80 or 90. You know what I'm saying? So This is not a thing about, it was the weather change, it was a season change. I think the other thing, and right, like I'm going to talk somatically and be really honest. The other issue for me is I would have issues with my digestive tract, right? Like all kinds of gas and issues and stomach aches. And I'm going to the doctor, the GI doctor, and one of them is telling me you got irritable bowel syndrome. The other one's saying this is all in your head, right? Like you are stressed. What is the problem? You have a problem. And whatever that is, I can't help you with a pill. You need to go figure that out. Go talk to a therapist. So those are some of the things that were tells that I was just thinking, okay, well, let me try to do this or let me try to do that. Like this, it was body, it was somatic things that were letting me know. And like I said, the mucus, like the inflammation, the irritation was saying, yo, you got to do something. Wow. But I want to shift this just a little bit. And Sharon, I want to start with you because I know you are somebody who appreciates the finer things in life. I know you are somebody who has had excellence at the top of the levels. And so I want you to get real vulnerable right now. And I want to know, what prestige tax are you still secretly paying? And what would it take you to stop doing that by this Friday?
Over preparing to be underestimated. Yeah, I still put in more work than necessary because I feel I have to prove my worthiness. In rooms where I'm it, right? But yeah, just over preparing, just giving more thought to stuff than I need to be. And I will tell you, it shows itself. For example, I produce conferences. I'm a conference junkie. I finally reached a point to do what I want to do next, to propel me to that next. I don't need to take another class, right? Again. I don't need to go to another conference. I don't need to have another consulting session. Okay. But it's that over preparing stuff. Because then I sit in rooms and I'm listening to the person on the stage and I'm going, I think I told him that last week. Okay.
That part.
So yeah, that's the tax that I'm paying. Over preparing, overthinking it.
And that goes back to, you have to be twice as good to get half as much, right? Like we breathe that in, where we have more than enough, but then we're also treated as if we have lesser than, right? And that's a thing, and I'm gonna get a little in here, even from a complexion issue, right? We also know that we have to deal with things from lighter skin versus darker skin and all of these things that are in the waters that we all know, but it's unspoken. And so, how do I do this excellence so that nobody can say anything to me?
Right.
That would be my thing. I want to be so excellent that you cannot, I want you to shut up and stop talking to me. So
Right.
even if you give me feedback, I'm going to address your feedback, even if I don't agree with it, so I never have to hear your mouth again.
Right. And you know how that showed up for me?
Tell me.
And my husband had to call me on it because he says, this was like a huge presentation. He said, babe, we all know you know what you're doing and what you're saying, but my presentation style was and at the end, don't ask me nothing, you know, or whatever, right? Because I know what I'm talking about. And he says, back it back a little bit, you know, give people an opportunity to feel that if their question is asked, you're going to receive it well, versus if their question is asked, you got Big Molly outside ready to be somebody. Be somebody else. So I had to take that in. And my presentation style is totally different, but that came from the fact that I had to be prepared. Now I'm so prepared. How dare you ask me a question? You know, and the question could have just been, Miss Jared, what time are we going to lunch today? You know, but I'm anticipating in my mind somebody's going to ask me, what's the ROI for the so and so and so, and it wasn't that. So yeah.
No, that is a big thing. That is huge. Kimmy, what about for you? What is that prestige tax that you still paying, but you know, you tired of it. You got to put it down.
Oh, that's good. I don't know. Oh, give me some options. I got a whole bunch of.
Well, can you relate to what Sharon was saying about being over prepared?
Oh, yeah, that is one. Yeah, absolutely.
Or getting all the pieces of paper, right? Like you got to have all of the pieces of paper to demonstrate your worth.
Being firm on my price.
Say more about that.
Okay, well, at one point, I think at one point I 5x my income. But I had to be okay with accepting that I can do what I love, be good at it, and get paid well for it. And one of my yoga teachers said that, you know, in some Dharma. And it's very true. I can be good at something, I can love to do it, I can be passionate with it, and it's okay for me to make good money. Right? What if people told young girls, instead of telling them when they were little that they were bossy, telling them that they had great leadership skills? How would that manifest in me differently? Right? So I have no problem now with being like, hey, this is what I charge. There's some people, and you know, some of my day job, there are people with higher credentials that sometimes charge less than me. And but I still know what I bring to the table. And I say, hey, sometimes it's a good fit, sometimes it's not. So I'm okay with, if it doesn't fit for everybody, it doesn't fit for everybody. And learning what can happen when you do kind of go down on what your worth is, right? If you're operating at a certain level or delivering a certain part of quality, right? You go down to this and you're still trying to do it, and then you mad and you got an attitude when no, it just wasn't a good fit from the beginning, right? Or wasn't a good fit at that time. So that's what I would say as far as like the tax. But it does take time to get there because, you know, we like to have nice things, or we like to be comfortable, or we like to do certain stuff. So it is hard, especially if you're in a point where you feel like you're in need, or if things are tight. So I mean, because there's reality. It's like, I'll just, you know, add a zero in it 4 times. Like that ain't always the reality. It is that ain't like a snap of a finger. But charging your work, doing the research, talking to people who are the majority, you know. So I would go to Caucasian men in my job, like, hey, you know, should we talk? Caucasian men have taught me more about negotiating for my pay and rate than anybody else.
Negotiating is huge. That has been such a huge thing that was important to me throughout my corporate career, right? Like negotiating. And I would advise people close to me about, hey, this is what you should ask for, and this is why, or this is how you present it. And it would always be told to me that, well, you don't understand this. I don't understand what. I have been in senior leadership. I know how negotiated works. Even if there's like a job and they're giving you the salary, they have much more to give you in compensation than what they offering. You never take the first, you never take the bone. And the thing is, we're so conditioned to think, oh, they're giving me the bone. Let me be, because if I don't get this bone, oh Lord, you know what I'm saying? And that's not how it works. And it's a tricky thing. It's hard, it's difficult, but you have to exercise that muscle. Whether you are an entrepreneur with your prices, right? Perceived value is important. And if you establish that your value is low, then people are always going to perceive you as low. So I certainly understand what you're talking about, and that is a tax that we should not be paying. I'm going to go to you, Alicia. What about for you? What are some of those prestige taxes that you're secretly paying that you're done with?
Yeah, I think I want to say I'm done. I try to be mindful when I abandon myself. But I definitely resonate with what Sharon said for sure. Just like doing too much, preparing too much, over preparing. And I think the other thing is like not what I am done with is like the superwoman thing, like you were talking about, Catherine. Everybody expects me to be strong, and I have always been that. But life has thrown some serious punches over the last 10 years, and I can no longer hold the smile and fake like everything is okay. And so learning how to say no, I guess just saying no when I just do not have the capacity, because before I would have just pushed through everything. So I think for me, just the prestige tax for me is trying to not do too much.
And no is even appropriate whether you have the capacity or not. It could be, I don't want to. No.
Right.
And you don't even have to give the I don't want to.
Right.
We're gonna take that piece right there. We're gonna take it out, and I need to hear that every morning.
Right.
I need to hear that every morning. No, because I don't want to. Good.
Mm-hmm.
And that even can be in your mind that I don't want to. The no is just no. I don't need to give you an explanation.
Right.
I don't need to justify it. I don't need to say it's because I don't have capacity. I could have the capacity that I wish to use for something else. And that even that thing we have to like decouple and unravel from us, because we're thinking, well, I should only say no when I can't because of whatever. It doesn't have to be a because. The because is because I said so, right? Remember, our parents used to say, I said so. That's it. Period.
Yep.
So, Catherine, I know that you are on a journey. 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 Yes, so what about for you? What is that tax?
I actually have two things. So the first tax is the boundaries. Very similar to saying no, I don't want to, but it's the boundaries of being a chosen one. The tax of being a chosen one, the tax of being the one in the family, like you said, Sharon, that's made it, the one in the family that people know they could call and get the answer. People know they can call and they're going to get the assistant to the point where like it crumbles everything, right? But you feel guilty if you say no. You feel guilty if you don't do. You feel guilty, right? So the tax of being the chosen one. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, the tax of the fear of failing in public. Now I can fail in private, okay? We can be in these four walls and it crumble, but failing in public is just, and I don't have an answer of what I can do by Friday for that, because that is just deep. But the reality is failure is a part of the process. It's the lessons, right? But because of how we are taught and because of everything that we've been able to achieve, right? The accolades, right? The success, all of that. It's almost like I can't show you that I failed at this thing, right? Never mind the 10 other things that I did and I got it. I can't show you that I failed at this thing. And because of that, we do the things that Sharon has said. We do the things Kimmy has said. We do the things Alicia has said so that we can just hold it together, right? So that we can present, so that, you know, we know that we're educated. We know that we have all of the information. We know our value. We know our worth. We know all of these things. But the minute that you fell in public, it's like none of those things ever existed. Right. And so I don't have an answer of what I can do by Friday, but I will tell you this. It is definitely and has been a work in progress, because especially being in business, you got to try things and you got to put it out there. And if it don't work, it don't work. You got to go back to the drawing board. But that is a hard pill to swallow as a business owner, especially as a Black woman in business. That is a hard pill to swallow, because you also don't want to be judged on that quote unquote failure, right? Which is truly a lesson, but you don't want to be judged on that. You want to be judged on all of the other things that you got right the first time. Cause you that girl, you that queen, right? But failing in public is a tax that I know I'm paying, and I can speak for my sisters here. I think we have paid, or we are still paying that tax.
Yep. Hey, can I step in for 1 second? I want to clear something up, because when my sister sees this, I don't want to have a family meeting with my dad. We're all chosen ones in our household. And that's the flip side, right? This whole iron sharpens iron, that's a good thing. But when everybody's, you know, at that same level or whatever, you just, I don't know, it's just an additional pressure. But sister, you're a chosen one too. Okay, I'm done.
She's like, I don't want no beef in the house.
Right.
No beef in the kingdom.
Right. None. Hey, I know my sister.
Well, Catherine, I want to go back to a couple of things you said about being in business. It's actually life, right? Life had nothing but experiences and lessons to learn. And I remember Cat Williams would say, like, you trying this, and wouldn't work. Trying this and trying this. And as an entrepreneur, right, the buck stops with you. You know, when you working in corporate and you work for somebody else, you could be the Monday morning quarterback. Well, we should have did this. We should have did that. But it was my blah, blah, blah. And then when you become the entrepreneur, it's like, what we going to do? I don't know. Figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that whole even shift, that shift from going from one to the next, whether it is going from being the aunt to the parent, or being in corporate as a leader, and now you are an entrepreneur, that is a very difficult thing to navigate, especially when you are accustomed to doing everything well, right? And I want to be honest, like, being a high achiever, being somebody who's gifted, you know, having that attention, you like that, right? Like, I love getting that attention. Right. And I was in a situation, you know, Sharon, you talked about being in the HBCU. I was always a speck of pepper and a sea of salt. So I was always in predominantly the white spaces. And there was something attractive and sexy about being this magical, mystical Negro unicorn.
Wow.
Right. There was something alluring to it. Now, all eyes are on me and I'm paying that tax, but it also, like, I got that attention. And I like that. That tax was like double-sided. So then when we go into like the entrepreneurial space, and our families and people are looking at like, well, what you gonna do? and how you winning? And what's going on?
You left that good job.
You left that good. With the, right? Pension. You don't even have pensions anymore. 401k and pension and great insurance to do this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you want to be Junior from A Raisin in the Sun. Remember, he kept failing. Junior kept failing in A Raisin in the Sun. That's what you're going for? So that's a really hard thing to navigate, and to not have to or want to put on airs, because this entrepreneurial journey, this thing about being a high achiever, this one about being the chosen one, or even in the chosen family, that's difficult because all eyes are also on you, Sharon. Like, well, why are you failing? You come from par excellence. What is your problem?
Right. Yep.
Hey, sis, what's up? Yep. So I see why you wanted to make sure that was right with your sister.
Yeah. She's a doctor. Yeah.
Right. And then that has its own thing where we're navigating that in these different communities, our households, right? Our families of origin, our spiritual communities, our professional communities, right? Like, all of that stuff is very difficult to navigate. And then what happens is that we start being performative. Right. And if we're performative, then now we're out of alignment with ourselves, because we're now playing a game and we're talking about masking. Like, it's all these different masks. Well, then who are you? Because I don't know who you are, because you playing patty cake around here, you performing, and I just want to know what's going on with you. So what I'm hearing from all of y'all is that it's really important to have a space, to have community, to have people who can hold space for you, who can help you and support you in your accountability, can cry with you, can laugh with you, and can be in all of that. So I want to know, who for y'all are those people? What are those sacred spaces that hold you, if you have one? And Kimmy, I'm gonna start with you. I see you think about, what is my space?
Ooh,
11.
Wow, that's a tough one. It's different, especially to working online. Things get different, right? And things get different just when you're an adult. So I do try to push people to, and myself included, to get in groups and get in communities that are things that I enjoy to do, that I can just enjoy to do them, like hobbies. So like, if it's things about crafting or makeup or cosmetics, just doing stuff that's fun to me, and it's just shooting the breeze. I like to play games on my tablet, so I have my friends in my games, like little stuff like that. That's just like, hey, that's just my relaxed, chill thing. And some people like, hey, no, this is how I de-wind. My kids are in bed. I get on this game and play this game. I'm like, oh, same here. We ain't trying to have no pressure. We're not trying to be like, oh, you got to get a certain amount of points. Cohort. That's it. That's all. Like, we ain't trying to have no pressure, no nothing. Just like, hey, I came here to clear my mind. Hey, how you doing? I'm good. Y'all, you good? So I think having and we have a lot of prestige, and we have these groups, but it's good to do things too that are just enjoyable or fun, or putting time in place and dedicating time to things that you just like to do, that you may not be trying to monetize. You just want to do them. You just like to do them. It could be a hobby. It could be what have you. So I think that's a big important thing to me. I think I've worked a lot too, and stressed a lot too, even on my own podcast, to get around people who have similar goals to you. So that could be, oh, hey, I'm, single parenting. I'm going to get in a single parenting group. Oh, I'm working in a business. I'm going to get in a business mastermind, etc. But sometimes just getting in those groups of people that just do things you like to do to pass your time, right? Where there's no pressure. I don't have to perform. I don't have to teach. I don't have to be, I'm just there. I know, even though I get in some groups, there would be times where I look up, and then I have a leadership role, or they asking me to come on staff, or things like that. So now I'm very clear of like, don't pitch that. Like, you just be in here and just be this
Boundaries.
Right. Like, don't push nothing. Don't, if they say nothing, like, just learn to be. Like, you just there. I just want to soak up. I don't want to be responsible. I don't want to, and being able to have those opportunities where you just are, or it's something that you're not good at. You just want to do it. You like bowling, or you want to try to learn bowling. Just go, be bold, have a bowling group. That's fine. You could, if you still need the, whatever they call the bumper or something, that's fine. But it's something that isn't tied to, I have to be here, I have to excel, I have to do whatever. No, I just want to have fun. right? And I want to make sure that I carve out time to do things that are just fun or that I enjoy or that I want to learn. And I have no kind of expectation to meet this and excel and do this. I just showed up. I see y'all on Friday at 8. We're going to be here. We're going to order some pieces. We're going to bowl. I'm probably going to be in the kiddie lane. You know, it don't matter, right?
I got bumpers too. I'm a bumper baby all the way.
Just don't slide down the lane. Other than that, like, so yes, I think that's what's hugely important, to still set those things up and those kind of communities for us that are just less, like you said, performative and less high stakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But treating them as the same way. Like, hey, I wanted to come here and do this, you know. So
well, that
I think
makes sense.
Yeah,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, prioritizing that part of your piece or that part of your D wine.
No, I get it. Alicia, you said that you were also in predominantly white spaces. Catherine did too. So what spaces do you go to honor yourself, to support you? And are they multicultural spaces, or are you seeking out spaces that have similar affinity to you?
Yeah, so one, I really had to shift my spaces over time. So one of the first safe spaces I found for myself, because I enjoy people who have different lived experiences, and that really fuels me. I don't want to just be around people who just share my own lived experience. I can't grow that way. But Be the Bridge is an organization that really honored both historical truth and biblical truth. And for me, I found people of color who are from many Black and Brown communities. And I also found white people who were trying to grow and to learn. And so those in those communities, those individuals in that community became my people. So that was the first place that I found community for myself. The community I've always had, I have a group of OG moms. We call ourselves the OG homeschoolers. Like, literally, they were my day ones when I started homeschooling. They are predominantly Black moms because we share, similar experience in terms of having to always, we can't just buy things off of the shelf. We always have to build extra to make sure that our children's experiences are represented on our bookshelves, and experiences of other communities of color are represented as well. My family, I come from an amazing family, particularly Black women who are just strong and resilient and wonderful and nurturing. And so I am so grateful to just have aunts and uncles and cousins and all of that who are part of my community. And then I am very, very grateful to have a mom who she is my super safe space. She reminds me to not abandon myself. And so when I have lost myself in motherhood, or have lost myself in being a wife, or lost myself in being, of service to everybody else, she often reminds me, don't forget about that girl who had a dream that's outside of, before you were mom and wife and all the things. So kind of going to your point, Kimmy, she is helping me and reminding me to continue to return to myself. So I would say those are the spaces. And of course, my husband, I have a great partner, life partner, who we've been ride or die for sure through so many things. So I would say those are the spaces where I find joy and comfort, and I can just be me. And I love that.
And so I agree with you, Alicia. So I have a few spaces that probably haven't been mentioned. So I am a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And when I tell you my sisters, Sharon, I already know what you're about to say, but let me have this. Okay. I love my sorors, and it's a space where I can be. I will say this. One of the things that I learned probably, what are we in, 2025, about 5 years ago, is that regardless of what space I am in, I am my authentic self. And I think people get confused with being authentic versus bringing your whole self. Now, I know some spaces I'm not bringing my whole self, but I'm bringing my authentic self. And when I say the difference, my authentic self is the way that I receive information, the way that I give information, the values that I have, they are all the same across. My directness, right? My curiosity, my servant leadership, they show up in rooms. It doesn't matter the color nor the space. And so that is what I mean when I say authentic. My authentic Blackness shows up in the same room. My wholeness, now see, I got a favorite song that can't go in certain places, right? And so my whole self, I do reserve for certain spaces, and my sorors are in that number. I'm also a member of other organizations where I truly love being in friendship, being in community. My household, my four walls. So, my husband and I have been friends for 24 years, have been married for 15. He got this space like right here under his arm. And that's my space, right? That's I could do everything, say everything, cry, scream, laugh, all of the things. And so it's also a safe space in a community. One of the things that I realized as I was building the business is that we always don't have this, right? Mm-hmm. We don't trying to find this and trying to, be in a space where people are giving and they're not seeking anything in return, for me has been very difficult. And so I found those spaces, but I also wanted to build that space because I know that sometimes those spaces come with a price tag, right? And it is what it is. Sometimes you got to pay to play. I understand that. But I've also tried to be the reflection that I would want. And so I built a community. Now, every Friday, I show up into a space at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in Queens. Y'all know what I'm talking about. A space that has been curated by Summer, a space where we can come and we can have these discussions in private, now public, right? But a space where we can be vulnerable, a space that has been curated by the knowledge and also the heart that Summer has. And so I know that piece has been curated just for us. But I also understand that is a small subset of smart wellness, right? And the reason why I absolutely love that space is because I can be vulnerable, right? The things that we just talked about and the feelings that we share with them. Yeah, we all polished, we got on lipstick and all of that. But when we come on Friday, we real, raw, real, right? We come in with all of it. And so y'all know what I'm talking about. Sometimes, we like, hey, I just rolled over. Take me as I am. So, but that space to me is a community. And I know it's a subset of what Smart Wellness offers. I know that, right? But I can feed my intellect, right? My intellectual self. I get fed there because let's face it, when you are high achieving, sometimes you walk in rooms and be like, I know they really don't think that was the smartest thing to say and do, right? Like you're just looking like, okay. But to be in a space where, you have other queens that are giving information and you like, oh, I didn't think of it like that, right? Like, oh, somebody's in my DNA. I've been guilty this whole time and I can't even help it. Like, like all of those things, those are the spaces. So I have a few spaces. I love my sorors and whatnot, but I also want to just acknowledge how we got here and that is a space that we truly cherish. And we know that it's a subset of Smart Wellness and what it provides, but more so the heart of Summer. So thank you.
Kudos to you. I can't say enough either. I just want to chime in. Summer, this is great. You have a gift. You're very talented at cultivating and curating communities and supporting relationships and social dynamics for a variety of people who have different styles, right? And so I want to, like I said, you might neurodivergent, you might not, whatever, but you are there. And I just want to, honor you for that. I want to give you your flowers all the time for that, because I think you need to really step in and embrace that this is not only just a gift of yours, or a talent that you put time into in refining and perfecting.
And we know we're making you uncomfortable, but we don't care. We don't, baby. We don't. You asked us a question. What's the space? Right? That's the space. That's the truth.
Right.
So I'm going to talk about my space for a minute, guys. For me, years ago, I did, as part of one of the icebreakers with some, high flying, powerful women, I wanted them to introduce themselves as the vibe they brought to spaces that they're in. And you could not tell me your marital status, your children, your profession. It had to be a vibe. And so my team, we were like, okay, we have to come up with a name for Miss Sharon. And the name they came up for me was Intentional Joy. Okay. So for me, I like being in spaces where I can either bring intentional joy or receive intentional joy. Right. And yes, this is absolutely one of those spaces. My other space, of course, the green you see for a reason, Miss Catherine, okay, we won't go into that, but but for me, I have different groups of friends, and not everybody knows everything, right? Some people, they're good to talk about for travel. Some people are good to talk about with your relationships, so I have those different groups, and I love, 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 love that, because I often say, life really isn't that hard. It's the mask that we put on to make people think it's okay. That's heavy, right? That's heavy. So when I can get into a space where I can be my authentic self, I have some girlfriends, that I've been rolling with now for 40 years. My best friend and I have known each other since we were 17. And when I tell you, whenever I am having a crazy day where I just want to, I'm done, right? She calls me, and it's so amazing how that happens. It's almost like she just senses it, and it's just crazy. So anytime now, the flip side of that is when I can no longer bring intentional joy or receive it, I know how to exit, right? And I've had that happen being new to the area that I'm in now. And perhaps maybe that's a podcast we want to address, just evolving friendships in our
baby. We're gonna piss some people off, but it is what it is. Let's do it.
Right. Because what I experienced at this big old age, I thought, okay. But just being in spaces where I can give and receive intentional joy it just does it for me. It does it for me. So thank you. Thank you, Summer. Thank you guys for even, I'm the late comer to the bunch, but hey, I enjoy being here. Thanks for accepting me. You're not going to get rid of me. So, but yeah, I love my
even
space.
Even with your green, we love
even with my green. I love my sisters, and that's my space. And yeah, my husband too. I'm gonna have to check his arm for that spot, but I'm
telling you, that spot is like right here. I just be snuggled, honey. Pillow talk, all of that, laugh, everything.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
So Summer,
I was getting ready to say, what about you?
Because we need you to answer the question as well.
I really appreciate the feedback that you all have shared. I was a little uncomfortable. Catherine, you did that on purpose, so I'll get you off camera, offline.
I just told the truth.
You did tell the truth. And I appreciate that. I mean, to be really sincere and honest, relationships are very important to me. It is part of my spiritual practice. Kimmy and I were talking about this earlier. In relationship is where you test your integrity, you test your principles, you test your values, right? And so the places that I curate, the places that I feed into, they're very intentional. It is with love. It is with consistency. It is with safety. It is with trust. It is with intention. And so we do that at Smart Wellness. And the reason why we created Smart Wellness is to have a space for what I wish I had, right? Understanding that I have been the only one, understanding that because I was gifted and high achieving, that was a unique position to be in as a Black person on this planet in this day and age, that we need support, that we need community, that we need care, that we need a blueprint on really how to have a life that is filled with joy, as Sharon said, that it's filled with love, that it's filled with wellness, that it's filled with rigor, that it's filled with learning and curiosity. All of that is important because there's been no other space that I've been able to find that. So that is why I co-created Smart Wellness with Dr. Reba Peoples. As far as the spaces that I go to, this space is certainly one of them. Y'all know that. There are a few accountability groups that I have that I am who I am. And I got in trouble a long time ago. I had a boss who told me, your Achilles heel, Summer, is that what they see is what they get, and that you don't have an agenda. And people are confused because you don't have an agenda. They're trying to figure out, well, what is this person's aim and game when there isn't any beyond what I've told you? I'm a literal person. That's how my brain works. So the space that I have with y'all is really important. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. There's another accountability group that I'm with on Mondays that I really appreciate. My partner, my romantic partner, she is such a steady and consistent and honest and relatable like force. She is, I don't use biblical terms, but we are evenly yoked. And I'm so grateful to be with somebody that I'm evenly yoked with mentally, intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, right? I have a best friend too, Sharon, that I have been friends with 35 years. We met when we were 14 and 15. And I call her my life partner. And she, for the longest time, was like, don't call me that, right? Because she's not queer. Don't call me that. But now she loves it because she understands like there's intention. And even when we were 15, she was like, I never knew somebody who would say, like, we gotta curate, we gotta like cultivate, we gotta tend to our relationship. And she was just like, no, we just be. And she's like, I never knew somebody to say, well, we need to tend to this. We need to water this. We need to nurture this. We need to be in generative conflict with each other. And I love her. Everybody knows if you're going to ride with me, this person is always going to be there, right? Like she got the keys, she got the codes, she got the nuclear codes and everything. Yep. My children are also a space and place where I really tried to have like honest conversations. And so I have chosen family. And in those chosen family spaces, and y'all are being in there, right? Y'all, my sisters and my cousins, nobody's a favorite, Catherine, but we all.
You gotta say that because y'all listening. You know, I'm gonna respect the platform. I'm just saying.
But I intentionally curate deep relationship. And if I can't have a deep relationship with you, then it's going to be surface and we just going to keep it moving. We just, right? Hey, hi, right? But those are the things I really, really make sure that I curate spaces with friends. I have friends from France to NOLA to California. And those are very deep, intimate friendships. When we come together, it's not all the time, but when we do, it's like we right there, right? And there's sometimes that we don't even need words because we just know, right? So I have those relationships, and they're really important. I have them in business. I have them in, my personal life. I have them for my kids. And that's really the spaces that I need because let me tell y'all, it's hard being Summer, Courtney, and Esquerre out here. I don't know about y'all. I don't know about Sharon and Alicia and Catherine and Kimmy. But it's hard out here being Summer, right? And like putting on Summer every day. But I know we at the top of the hour. This has been so fun. This is the first. It will not be the last. Jared, I think we are going to talk about how relationships and friendships change, how our relationship to ourselves change in those relationships. That's going to be really the next place that we like get
Love it.
into.
Love it.
But before we all go, I just want to make sure that we each have the floor to say what we want to say, unedited, unscripted. Alicia, I know you. I see your brain is going. What you got to say, Mrs. Brown?
No, I was just thinking we definitely need to talk about how the relationship with ourselves evolved. I was just like, yeah, that is a conversation that is a must have for sure.
I am so happy, y'all.
So yeah, that's what the facial expression was, because I am definitely in that space of having an evolving relationship with myself at this.
Well, and perimenopause and postmenopause. I mean, all that's in there too. So
I am so happy this light didn't do me in. I was like, you bet you did y'all see me doing this? I started looking a little.
I was standing before we even started, so I was like, okay,
don't get on here acting crazy. I don't even have nothing to listen. Yes.
But are there any closing thoughts, Alicia, that you want to make sure that we hear from you? Because your voice is important in this space.
Oh gosh, I don't have anything in particular that is resonating with me right now. I think we were going to talk a little bit about like what we would share with up and coming women who are high achievers. So I think about my daughters in particular. And I guess for them, I would, and I say this to my kids, like, people need to earn access to you. Like, you do not give, and that means me too. Like, just because I have a title of your mother does not mean that I automatically get access to you. I have to, speaking of relationship, which I know we're talking about that next time, like, I have to earn the right to remain in a relationship with you. And I know that's kind of counter what I kind of grew up believing, like, oh, well, you know, just because this person has a title, you give them space, give them access. And I've learned that that is not absolutely true. So I would say to up and coming women is to just, again, make sure you don't owe anybody access to you. It has to be earned.
It's powerful. And what does right relationship look like? So thank you.
Yeah.
Darren, how about for you? Drop them nuggets.
So now, just in closing, I don't have any nuggets, but I will say, I was thinking about it, and give yourself as much attention, love, and care as you give the people that you support.
Ooh, that's a nugget. You talking about you don't got no nuggets.
Right.
That's a nugget.
Just nuggets dropping.
Yeah, as the people that you support, because we can give it away. We can give it away, you know. But yeah, I'm putting myself up first on the agenda every day.
I love that.
Every day.
I got an exercise for y'all. Catherine knows about this. I got an exercise for y'all to practice loving yourself every day. But I'll drop that at the end. Catherine, what about for you?
I always say grant yourself grace. I feel like, you know, there's one thing that I taught my daughter, and I practice it as well. I think that we are so hard on ourselves, and we don't forgive ourselves, and we don't, like, the things that we would never do to someone else, we do to ourselves. And so I taught my daughter, I said, if you are saying something to yourself, that if somebody said to you, you want to fight, then you need to adjust what you're saying, because your body does not know that it's you versus someone else. And so your body is gearing up to do the thing that you would do to someone else if they said those things to you, if they did those things to you, not knowing that it is you. And so really grant yourself grace. I try to hold space for me. Some days I'm good, some days I'm not, right? But on this journey, as you are, you're trying to master life, which you can't do, but we all trying to strive for perfection that doesn't exist. It is what it is. Just grant yourself grace and be okay with being you. Flaws and all. Be okay with being you. That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kimmy?
Fine words. If I say anything, let's make the best version of yourself a priority. And I think that's kind of already been kind of channeling in here. And sometimes that can look like working harder. Sometimes that could be letting something go. Sometimes that could just be, I don't know what I need to do. I just need to pause, right? I just need to sit still and be in it. So just same thing, honoring yourself and whatever you may need or not even know that you may need in that moment. So yeah, just knowing that we don't have it all figured out, like Catherine was saying.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think what I'm going to say kind of complements everything that you all have said. And it is, don't be afraid to repair the relationship you have with yourself. And practice repair. Practice apologizing to yourself. Practice acknowledging where you put somebody else in front of you, or that you didn't do the thing that honors you, right? And what that repair work looks like. Saying sorry to yourself in the mirror. And it could be 13-year-old, Summer, or 16-year-old Summer, or last week Summer. But having that relationship and having that practice, because if you can repair with yourself, then you can have the grace. You can have the compassion. You can build a discernment of who has access to you, right? You can put yourself first. You could do all these things, but that can't happen until you start to repair with you, because you don't trust you.
Ooh, why? See? Oh, God. See? And we're supposed to finish. That was supposed to be the end.
Right. That sounds like a beginning to me.
That part. I guess the beginning of the next episode, right?
That's so good.
I'm sorry. Say it again, Summer. I'm just
we need to hear that one more time. And
one more time. Let it's simmering in my spirit. It just hit me.
How can you trust you when you have not repaired with you? Right? You can't truly trust yourself. And most of us, who says, I trust me 100%?
I tell you what I do say. I tell you, I got me. I'll say that, but that's very different than what you're saying. And I know that we think it's the same when we saying it, but it's not. It is not.
So repair work is what I would recommend to all of us and all of the Black women who are coming, who are younger than us, who are looking for, well, what is the secret sauce? What is the thing? That is the thing that I would say to start with. And to take some time on that, to sit with that, to meditate, to journal, to do a vision board. But really, I'm a verbal person. Like, I've had to say to myself in the mirror, I'm sorry. And I blew it. And this is not the excuse, but I'm going to work on what I need to with you so that we can repair this. And that helps with the guilt. That helps with the shame, right? It helps with discernment. So this is the first episode, folks.
Hey. Stay tuned.
So good.
This is what the taste is, right? It's better than Coke 45. It works every time.
You said Coke 45.
It's smoother. And that last exercise that I'll leave y'all with, and I want to honor who I got it from Prentice Hemphill. The practice is in demonstrating that you love yourself. is to pick a love song. And you take that love song and you sing that love song to yourself.
In the mirror?
In the mirror for 7 days straight.
Oh, okay.
And it's not you thinking about your boo, your partner, whomever. You are singing this song loud and proud to you. See what comes up for you while you do that.
I want to know everybody's song. Okay, that's
I know. I'm like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, what song am I gonna pick?
I'll
tell
y'all my song. I got a few songs, but you said a love song. That's right. I got songs that I be in the mirror,
the song
but
that
it's
I
like,
always go to.
What's that?
Anita Baker, Angel.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mine is Exceptional by Babyface.
Then let me see you sing that to you. I mean, I don't want to see it, right? That's you can do it in private.
You might be missing out on some Grammy Award winning songs now singing. So, like, wait a minute.
I mean, you could do that, but the performance is for you, right? You are serenading you.
I could do that.
I gotta think about it. But when we come back, that's what we starting off with. What was your song? 7 days straight in the mirror. My husband gonna hear me howling in the bathroom in the morning. I'm gonna be tearing it down, y'all. He gonna come with his story talking about I told her to do this.
You're gonna be like it, and that's not for you. This is for me.
It's for me.
Well, Kimmy and Sharon, Alicia and Catherine, thank you for your time, your honesty, your vulnerability, your courage, your sincerity, your truth telling, giving truth to power. For the folks who watched and all the different platforms, thank you so much. We are going to do this again. If there are questions, put them in the comments wherever you saw this so that we can take that in. And know that this is for us and this is also for you because we love us and we love our Black people. All people, but Black people. And with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you for joining us at Better Than the Talk podcast. And we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.